Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we answer the tough questions like, can I cook pulled pork on my Kamado Joe without screwing it up? And what do you get when you play tug of war with a pig? That one's easy. Pulled pork. We are back on our journey on the Kamado Joe, trying to figure out how to use this properly. The last time I made ribs, I didn't even put it together right, so I can only go up from there, I feel. Today we're going to do something that is really forgiving, pulled pork. A pulled pork or a big pork roast is super forgiving. Like, it's really hard to mess this up. So I hope I can make a good one. And I'm interested to see how smoky it is compared to all the other cookers that I've used before, because apparently you're supposed to get better smoke flavor on something like this Kamado Joe. To do this, let's go ahead and start the setup. One of the things I am doing different this time is I'm gonna put my wood chunks underneath my charcoal. I had a big flare up last time and I think this will help prevent that. Still using some big block charcoal from Kamado Joe. Once it catches fire like that, it's pretty much good to go. It is time to assemble the Sloroller in the correct order. Get your base. And then this guy, not this guy on the bottom first, like I did last time. And now, pop that guy in there. See if that works. Oh, and it does. Perfect. I got the top completely open, the bottom at about 2 fingers. We'll let that go for about 30 minutes to heat soak everything. And then, while that's going, let's work on our pork. This is a bone-in, skin-on pork shoulder that is only partially defrosted, apparently. The plan was to cook this in another day, but we have a storm coming in Florida. There is a potential tropical storm / hurricane, and this was too far defrosted to put back, so I'm hoping it'll be enough to cook though. I think we're good. I was able to just stick the knife in there. It's semi-solid, but I think it's gonna work. For the seasoning, I'm gonna hit the bottom with some Sassy Q. This is a barbecue rub I got at my local grocery store. I've used it in a couple of things and I liked it, so I'm going no binder. I'll flip it. For the skin, we're gonna do the salt crust trick. I've used this a couple times on pork. It protects the skin from the smoke, gives you a little bit nicer looking crispy skin. You're basically just building a pillow of salt on the skin. And because it's skin, it doesn't absorb the salt and make your food salty. It's a cool little trick. We're gonna let this sit there for a little bit. This thing should be almost up to temp. Fill our water pan, and then we'll get going. I think our dome is heat soaked. It says it's about 350. I can touch it for a second and feel the heat, but I can't leave my hand there, so I think we're good. A little bit of coffee. Did I mention it's early? Let's fill up our water pan. I'm using a water pan this time. I think it'll protect the meat a little bit on the bottom. That was my problem with my ribs. My ribs got crispy on the bottom, so I'm going all out. I have the top setting on the control top set to 1, and I've got it on 1 finger on the bottom. When I did my ribs, this got me into that 225, 250 range, Fahrenheit or Celsius. So I think that'll be good. Right now, we're reading at around 300 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. So it should settle down here in a little bit, and I gotta throw in my meat thermometer, because I need to be able to track this cook. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna use a wireless meat thermometer for this cook because I got things going on. I've got to go and check on stuff. I've got to get the house ready. I've got to go get hurricane supplies. So we're gonna throw in a little digital meat thermometer so I can keep track of this thing as it's going. And I think we should be able to get it in somewhere. Being slightly frozen, this is a little more difficult. There we go. I was able to get it in the side right over there. And let's open up our app. We're gonna set it to their pork shoulder setting, which will be 195. We'll do an early warning, 30 degrees down below, which is 165, which is the stall, Celsius's. And my meat is 24 degrees. So it's pretty cold. This might take a while. We'll come back and check on this thing in a couple hours. It's been about 4 hours. I haven't even looked at this thing. It's been rocking at about 275 Fahrenheit or Celsius, just with no effort. I haven't had to do a single thing to it. According to the thermometer, we are at about 147 Fahrenheit or Celsius. Let's see how it looks. Okay, not bad. I think we could use a little more smoke. Not bad. At 4 hours, I would have expected a little bit smokier or darker color to it, but looks pretty solid. My wood chips that I put inside the ashtray, they didn't catch. I don't have a lot of ash dropping down, I guess. So maybe I'll have to light a piece of wood and stick it in there. I might have to do that if I want to get a little bit of extra smoke on this bad boy. Let's do that. Let's knock off our salt top. It's probably done its job, especially since we're not that smoky. We'll close this down. We'll see if that does anything and adds any extra smoke. We'll check on this when it hits the stall. I just got the warning that we are 30 degrees from our target temperature, which means it is time to wrap this sucker. Sorry for the different view. With the rain, I can't put my real camera equipment out here, so I'm on my phone. Let's get this done.
Since the pork was out, I couldn't help myself and I wanted to see what everything looked like underneath there. Pretty good looking fire, not as aggressive as my last one, so I figured I'll throw a couple extra woodchucks in there and put it all back together.
It's still Florida-ing out here, where it goes from pouring rain to slightly sunny to windy. Let's check on this pork. It's very close to like the 190s.
What I'm doing here is I'm checking for tenderness. See how that's like a little bit tough to get in? And that one goes in a little bit easier. That one goes in pretty easy. And that one's how you want it to feel all over. Just like that one. They're not all there yet.
Even though we are at like 193, it's still a little bit tight when the probe goes in. I'm going for probe tender, not by temperature. And that center section in the middle can probably use a little bit more crispiness on the skin. So let's kick up the temperature a little bit here right at the end. I'm at right about a 2 finger on the bottom, and I'm on number 3 on the dial at the top. Let's see what temperature that gets us to. All right, we are at 199. Let's check this. I think it's probably time to wrap it and stick it in a cooler.
That one goes in nice and easy. That one goes in pretty easy, just like peanut butter. That one's a little bit not as easy. That one's got a little resistance there too. Not much, but just a little.
It's honestly still a little bit tight when I get to the center, but we got at least 3 hours before dinner, so it's going to get a nice long rest in the cooler, so I think it'll be good.
Editor Dad here. If you worry about the skin and you want the skin crispy, I wouldn't do this cooler step. I would just take it a little bit longer till the meat gets about where you want it, and then just rest it open. You're going to get much better crispy skin without having to resort to the air fryer like I did.
I definitely sacrificed my skin by putting it in the cooler, hoping that a little bit of time in the air fryer We'll crisp that bad boy up. All right. Clean bone. Let's try a piece. Delicious. Nice little flavor on there. Smoky still. Kill a piece with the bark. That was a wonderful pulled pork. Let's make a slider. Hawaiian roll. Gourmet Warehouse Hawaiian barbecue sauce. I don't know. I saw it. I was like, I'm getting Hawaiian rolls. Let's try this. Pork on there. A little bit of Hawaiian barbecue sauce. Slider. That's really good. Of all the pulled porks I've cooked, this is probably the best one I've ever cooked. Perfect texture. Nice smoky flavor. Absolute dead easy. So simple to cook on that Kamado Joe. Like, it is a set it and forget it type scenario. You get your dials in, and then you can just leave and go about your day. Just so easy. If you guys are interested in picking up one of those, hit the link down in the description. I'll throw a link for this whole recipe, how I did it, down in the description. I'll throw lots of stuff down in the description. If you would like to support this channel, subscribe, do the likey stuff. YouTube loves it when you leave a like. I love it when you leave a comment. I answer just about every comment in my comment section. If you really want to support this channel, consider becoming a member. Members get early access to videos, early updates, they get shout outs, producer credits, all kinds of fun stuff. That answers the question of whether you can cook a pulled pork. If it's your first time ever on the Kamado Joe, I think that was the question I answered. If that wasn't, we still answered it, and this is an amazing pulled pork. I guess that only leaves one question to answer. What do you call a pig with no legs? Groundhog. Yeah. Dad may tell horrible dad jokes. Cook amazing pulled pork for the first time ever on a Kamado Joe. But one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This episode of Dad Got This was brought to you by our producers. Thank you very much.